听力训练也是一种修行。接下来的练习，你只可以看到单词和短句的提示，你必须用自己的耳朵听明白整段话的意思。如果没有听懂，你可以反复多听几遍。下面我们开始吧。
Mark Carney has already run up a lot of travel miles in the 10 months since he became Prime Minister. This coming week, he'll be back on the road. Carney will make an official visit to China starting on Tuesday at the invitation of President Xi Jinping. Now, the two of them met informally on the sidelines of the APEC summit in South Korea last fall, but this will be the first visit by a Canadian PM to China since Justin Trudeau met with Xi in Beijing back in 2017. For Carney, the mission is to expand commercial relations with a country that is already our second largest trading partner after the United States, and one, of course, become even more important with Trump administration using tariffs to choke off Canadian exports. Now, there are still some serious diplomatic differences between the two nations, and the leaders are expected to address the tariffs each has imposed on the other. Canada, of course, by matching the Biden administration's 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles and adding further duties on Chinese steel and aluminum products. And then China with retaliatory tariffs on Canadian-grown canola, which of course is devastating to farmers in Western Canada, and also additional duties on some types of seafood from the Atlantic region. So what moves is Carney prepared to make, if any, to convince Xi to either eliminate or completely or reduce those tariffs? Well, he's a bit boxed in here. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has already warned Carney against dropping the EV tariff, saying it's needed to protect this fledgling domestic EV industry. Ontario and the federal government, of course, put billions and billions of dollars in incentives up for automakers to build EV and EV battery plants here. And if he was to somehow reduce the EV duties, it could further encourage Donald Trump to repatriate the auto industry manufacturing jobs from Ontario to the United States. So maybe there are other incentives that could be offered. Now, after he leaves China, Carney will make a quick stop in Doha, Qatar. This is a bid to drum up investments in Canada from countries in the Middle East that are sitting on these huge sovereign wealth funds derived from the oil industry that could be potentially used to fuel investments in Canada, those big nation-building projects, including potentially a new oil pipeline from Alberta to BC. It's going to take tens of billions of dollars to build that. Now, Carney will also be trying to lure investors a few days later when he travels to Switzerland for the meeting of the World Economic Forum. Now, this annual WEF event in Davos has figured in numerous conspiracy theories that allege really crazy things like the organization is attempting to install some kind of leftist global government and force everybody to eat bugs instead of meat. But one person who will be there, President Donald Trump, will be accompanied by many of his cabinet secretaries who are involved in the trade negotiations with Canada. So possibly this trip to Switzerland, to Davos, is another chance for an informal Trump-Carney meeting, possibly also a chance for further discussions of this trade dispute that is now dragging on, coming up on a year long.
The Carney government has pressed on, promising to cap the level of foreign workers and international students by less than 5% of the country's population. The 2025 federal budget highlighted that in 2018, 3.3% of Canada's population were temporary residents. By 2024, that number had more than doubled to 7.5%, an unprecedented rate of growth that put pressure on housing supply, the healthcare system, and schools. Canada's new government recognizes that this system is no longer sustainable.
We will work to attract the best talent in the world to build our economy.
The recent spike in the country's population has in part resulted in nearly zero GDP per capita growth over the last number of years, meaning the slice of the economic pie is getting smaller for each Canadian. A country built on the back of immigration has now recalibrated as it charts a new course into an uncertain economic future.
没有听明白的朋友，可以反复多听几遍。如果有需要这一段英文文字的内容，可以在评论区留言。在点点滴滴中提升自己的英文听力。英语听力练习是一场修行。那么今天视频的内容就到这里了，我们下期见。